Just a pilot in his cockpit seated. Black leather on his ass, keep a hustler heated.
Alright, here we're going to be installing the IKON Motorsports front lip. It's right over there hanging on the wall. I'm not sure if you can see it right there. Gotta move out the cars and then we will get started.
Told me he wanted to talk for a while. He said, Peter Pan, that's what they call me. I promise that you'll never be.
I think I will have to jack up the front. I'll try to let you know if the front actually needed to be jacked up, but I'm going to do it just because I think it does. But we'll see. I don't think there'll be enough room without doing it. And of course there are no install instructions, which doesn't really surprise me, but this is what it comes with. I'm gonna do this without everything rolling away. Looks like it's actually all the same stuff. Okay, got my drill, and this drill bit looks like it will work. It's gonna be a little bit of tight, but I want it to, I don't want a huge hole. I want the hole to be as small as possible. So this is a, I think 1364 drill bit. It's kind of covered in paint and a little bit of rust. So I think that's 1364. I'm gonna use this, and yeah, we'll go at it. So I'm gonna jack up the car now.
Hit, take a little sip, put your mind at ease. Swear you got the keys, you can have your dreams. That's up to you, not what others believe. Jeez, I swear that's the part that took longest for me. Cause when I drop into a beat, I detach from the world, view it under my feet. Orbit around my dreams, and there I perceive my reality and what it means. Music is where I can breathe, the world in between. What I am.
Okay, so the first problem I'm running into, and some of you might run into this also, I'm doing this alone. So if you are sad and pathetic and have no friends, you're going to run into the same problem where you can't really hold it down in order to drill. So what I'm going to attempt to do is just zip tie through some of the existing bolts, and just zip tie it through some of the other bolts that are the other holes that are here. Holes, not bolts. So zip tie some of the holes to some of the holes just so I can get it to stay up there, so I can at least start drilling some of the holes to get it to stay in place while I do that. Because otherwise it's just moving too much. I can't get it to stay enough to even put one of them. It's just too big and floppy. So I'm gonna try that. You can see what I did here. It's just hanging down on both sides right now. I just put a zip tie right here, and that way that's approximately where it's gonna go. So that way I can just hold it with one hand and drill with the other and start getting it to actually start going in. So I'm probably going to start with the outside holes first, and then work my way in once those are on. I mean, the easiest way to line it up is just to make sure it's even on this back part. So once that's against the back of the bumper, then you know you're on the right track. And from there, you just push it hard against it, and you're certain you have it lined up the whole way. So I'm just going to push this like this, keep this held against there, and drill some of the outside holes. I've seen other people install these, and one of the biggest problems is just getting it to be tight all around. Because if you're not super tight, you can easily have little gaps.
Neverland, I don't have a clue. They call us lost, but this is the place where I was found. Take my hand, Wendy, we're home now.
Assuming the washers go on the inside, just because that seems to make more sense. Okay, so that's a little tight. So when I drill these, I'm gonna just have to hone it out a little bit. Okay, and that's nice and tight. That's exactly what I wanted. So I'm gonna grab a screwdriver. Just got that in. Now I'm gonna put the washer and the nut. Now you can see there, that's on. Of course, the rest of it is just hanging off, but I think I'm gonna come to this side and do the same thing. And that way it will kind of stay in place. And then I can just do the inside.
Neverland's home to lost boys like me, and lost boys like me are free. Neverland is home to lost boys like me, and lost boys like me are free.
There it is. So now I got the two sides done. As you can see, it's starting to look like I have a front lip. I think my alignment is going to be nearly perfect. So if you're by yourself, just use a zip tie in the middle there, and then that way it'll stay in place and you can get the rest. So you can definitely do this alone. As I am proving, I'd say you probably could do it without jacking up the car, but it would be much more of a pain in the ass. Much more of a pain in the ass, because I have the car like a foot up higher, and it's easy to get under, but it would just be horrible otherwise. So I am going to start with the passenger side. And one of the things I just wanted to note, I'm not sure how well you can see it, but I have a ton of scratches, and this car is not even that low. So one of the reasons I want it, besides the aesthetics of course, is just that it'll prevent the bumper from getting scratched. So the lip will get all scratched up. Not really a big deal. It was 100 bucks, 90 bucks, whatever it was. Not too concerned about this lip getting scratched. I would rather my actual bumper not have these horrible deep scratch. So now what I'm doing is I'm just pushing it hard against the side. So you can see where that gap is. So you have to push quite a bit, and you can see like barely any of the gap, but if I push hard enough, you can't even see it coming from the side here. Now again, I will say, if you have someone that could help you with this, I would suggest you don't do it alone, because it's going to make it a lot harder. And that looks good. There's no gap. Nice and tight. So I'm going to drill a hole. I'm going to drill the other hole right now too. Okay, just showing you here. I haven't removed any of the splash guard anywhere. I'm just going to lift up, and you can see it moves really easily. All right, I got that kind of finger tightened, so I'm just going to make sure it's pushed exactly where I want it. Nice and tight. So that's perfect. I'm really happy with the job I've done on this side. It looks great. Bring you around and show you the progress so far. So just gonna do this side here, which hasn't been tightened, and then I'll do all around the front. Just like I was afraid of, this one, this side's requiring far more pushing effort. It naturally wants to go wider than the car is. So this is where it wants to go up naturally. Huge gap right there. So it's gonna have to be pushed really tight on the sides when I install it. Even harder than I had to push over there, because now the whole thing's forcing it this way. So not a big deal. I mean, it'll bend, but you just gotta make sure you keep this part in mind. This is the most crucial area, because the rest is just flat. This part is where it bends. So the natural bend, you see what it wants to do. I mean, that is a massive gap. I'm not sure if you can see it in the camera there, but that is like, that's with me just pushing it up. Like that's huge. So to get it to fit right, I'm gonna have to push it super hard. Alright, I got those started. Now I can do it from the outside.
Deep up my feelings for you. Watch them.
Okay, and that's decent. Once this is there, it'll be pretty close. Let's see if there's any more I can do though, because I feel like it should be a little bit better than this. Okay, I think that's the best I can get it. So when I do the rest of it, I'll just have to make sure I push it over as far as possible, and that will clear all that gap. I verified there's nothing on the other side of at least these two screw holes, so I can just push it into place from the top and then drill. I don't have to worry that I'm drilling into some critical part of the car. Now I went for a while without doing this, and I didn't think I was going to need to, but I have to get this because it's way too far in. I just can't get my hand around while I'm screwing, I can't get underneath. There's just no way. At least not being on the outside to push this. So again, this is another instance where having 2 people would make this way easier. 10 millimeter, I checked it on one of the other ones. That's what it is, so. Okay, this is being a pain, so I'm gonna just take off that splash guard so I can get to it. And just to show you what I did here, just remove the front of the splash guard, so now I can pull it down. I can get my hand and tool in there easier to hold the nut down, because it's having a hard time getting it to it. So that'll allow me to get to this one as well. It'd be easier if I removed a little bit more stuff, but I think I can get to it from there. This is the wiring for the fog lights, so that's why it looks all sloppy and stuff, because it's not factory. So I'm not completely impressed with my job here. I just tightened it down and there's still a gap right there. It's not a big one, but there is a gap. I just don't know what to do. Probably gonna try to remove the one that's over here and then push everything over and try to reconnect it and hope I can get it to stay a little bit more square. But right now there's a decent sized gap right here and I'm not happy with it. Alright, I did lots of correction, and I think this is about as good as I'm going to get, which is okay, but far from perfect. For now, I'm going to start putting the rest of them in, which should be fairly easy. I lied, I'm still going to screw with it, try to get it to fit better. Can't help it. Okay, I took this one out completely, and I'm just trying to see what I did wrong, because I thought it was going to stay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill this one, which is not the one I just took out. I'm going to drill it at a slight angle too, so when it straightens out it'll put even more tension. I think that's going to be good. I think, but we'll see. It feels promising. And what I did is I just drilled it a little bit with that sort of angle, so when it tightens it'll pull it out even more, because I just can't hold it that tight and drill. I need a person helping me to really do it right. So if anyone's in Houston and wants to come help me work on my car, let me know. So I could definitely use some help. Okay, wow, that really is good. Wow, okay. Glad I did that. That's beautiful. It completely sealed up that gap. I don't know where I'm at with the other hole I had. Probably doesn't line up at all. No, it doesn't. So I'm just gonna drill that one out bigger from where it sits now, and it'll be perfect. So like I said, I just drilled it slightly that way, bent it, pushed up, and it just moved everything right into place. Okay, you can see from here, it's really tight there, and if you look underneath, there's only a very slight gap on the sides, like almost not noticeable, and that's well within my comfort level. So this is perfect. So I'm going to do the other thing on the same thing on the other side, which I thought was going to be easy, and it's not. So hopefully the other side's not even harder now that I've bent the whole thing over. Okay, so there's definitely a nice gap over here, bigger than it was. So that means that my prodding and pushing at it did actually push it over this way and cause a little bit more problems. So that's just the thing with these things, guys. You gotta, they fit well, but not 100% perfect. It's a little tiny bit wider than it should be. I mean, it'll fit, you just gotta like push it into the right orientation. So the same thing here, I'm gonna push and I'm going to push and drill at the slight angle that way, so when I straighten up that nut or screw and bolt, it will pull the lip to that direction and straighten everything out. At least it worked last time, so hopefully it'll work this time. And it looks like that plan worked beautifully because it sealed up that gap. So that's just the technique. If you can't push it enough, like if you don't have a buddy to push with you, just drill at a slight angle where you know it should be, where when it's straight it'll line up. And that way you put it in and you can push with the screw in and just get that slight amount of movement. Now just slight angles, like I'm drilling at that kind of angle, then it'll straighten out like that. So nothing like that and just think it's gonna go in, because then it'll just be too far, it's just not gonna work. Now since that is pretty much perfect, I'm just going to go straight. So I'm not doing any weird angle stuff with this. I'm just gonna go direct and just install the way it's supposed to be installed. Nothing fancy.
Let me show you how it goes. Love's the word, spins the verb, covers the curve, freak what you heard. I like the way you work it, don't need it. I'm about to bag it up. I like the way you work it.
Just to show you what's going on here. Put these through. These are over there. So it's all pretty good. So one thing I just wanted to kind of show you, you can see there it's all flush, and then here there's this big bulge, and then it's mostly flush. So I think, I mean, it'll all go in, and I think maybe my zip tie may have played an evil part in this, because I've had it on the whole time, and I think maybe it prevented some of the lateral movement that it would have needed to do in order to go on correctly. So it probably would say after you start getting like maybe one of the sides in, remove the zip tie if you had to put one on. Okay, so just another update. Just got this one and the very next one, and sorry I didn't do it on camera. I just there's nowhere to set the camera while I do this where you can see it, unless I showed you from the outside, which really doesn't help at all. But just to show, that little bulge is mostly gone. That kind of flattened it out. There's a little bit of bulging here and a tiny bit here, but most of it is gone. So most of it just got bent straight. So I'll get it all on and see what kind of gaps there are from the outside, and then I think they give you quite a bit of nuts and everything and bolts, so I think we have plenty to use like an extra if we need to put an extra somewhere. So now I'm gonna do the opposite side. Alright, got that next one on that I just showed you. Me starting, so you can see here the gap is not much. There's just a tiny bit right here, which you can see a little bit. So it looks like once it goes, I think it's going to be pretty flush. The only thing I'm worried about is this spot right here. I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's a little bit. And I might need to drop something there to cover it up. One right in the middle, but I'm not sure if it'll even be noticeable from the outside. Probably not, but we'll see. If it is, I'll just put an extra. Alright, I got the next one on. So now the only thing that's left is 1, 2, there's 2 in the middle for some reason, so I don't know if I'll put 1 or 2 in there. And then there's 2 on this side. Basically all I have left is the middle, which is 4 of them, but 2 of them are right next to each other, so I don't know if I'll put both in those spots. Just want to show how it looks from the outside, if you can even see those gaps. This is where one of them would be, and I would call that like 90% not noticeable. You really can't see it. And then of course this is the very front, which I haven't screwed in yet. So I'm just gonna do probably 1 on each side there. I don't really see any reason for all 4. Okay, so I put 2 screws on each of those 2 spots. Let me just show you. So you see there's 4 holes here. I don't know why. I don't think that's necessary. I don't want to drill more holes into my bumper than I need. So I just did these 2 outside ones. It's nice, it's solid. There are a couple little gaps. There's one right there and a much smaller one right there, but I think this is the only one that would be of any concern because you can kind of see light through it, but it's really minor. Let me know what you guys think, if I should put another screw there. I really don't want to put more than I need, and I don't think it's really noticeable. Here it all is from the outside. A little distance so you can see. Looks pretty good. It's dark outside, so I'll have to take some pictures in the morning and come out and film. But as you can see, I'll put the light on the other side. I got rid of like pretty much all that gap over here. It looks like more of a gap than there is. There's really almost nothing. See, it's really, really small. So when you're looking at it at a reasonable angle, you can't even see it. So I would call that as about as tight as you can make it. All through here is really good. And here, again, there's only a little tiny gap in the corner, but I don't really think there's really any way you can get rid of that. I'll give you a quick look at it, and I will either upload this video and then make another video of the results where you can see it in the daylight and I can wash the car because it's filthy right now. But alright, thanks everybody. Let me know if you have any comments, suggestions, do anything wrong. I like the way it looks. I'm pretty happy with it, but let me take the car down and we'll see. Just wanted to make a quick note of what hardware I have left. I have 2 sets, so two screws, 2 washers, two nuts. So I guess in those 2 spots, in the spot in the front where there's 4 holes, you're supposed to put all 4 in. I don't see any reason for that. I don't want to just drill holes just to drill them.
Just a pilot in his cockpit seated. Black leather on his ass, keep a hustler heated. Weeded, engage in the pavement. Rubber escorts like I'm seeking arrangement. Push the gas, escalate the gauges, escalate hits on the cam girls' pages.